the horse can do, can do, can do.
I'm picking Valentine, cause on the morning line, the guy's got him figured at 5 to 9. But make it epitaph, he wins it by a half.
Hello racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Sunday, October, well, I wish it was April, but October 12th races at Hastings Racecourse. We do have 7 races on tap. Of course, we're running Sunday, Monday this week.
Take the Saturday off and get into it on Sunday. And then, of course, the holiday racing Monday, 4 stakes up. We have the Ballerina, the Premiers for the older horses, and the 2-year-olds, the Fantasy and the Ascot Graduation.
Yeah, $350,000 in stakes races, a lot of money on the line, divisional honors on the line. That's on the holiday Monday card.
Yeah.
No stakes races on the Sunday, but still we have some good races, and we have a good simulcasting as well on Saturday and Sunday, so please do come on out to Hastings or to the Derby Bar and Grill here and check out some good simulcast action as well as the live racing if you can't make it out to Hastings for the Sunday program. Let's get into the opener, Drew. Got a field of 6 $16,000 2-year-old fillies to kick things off, going 6.5 furlongs. I ended up on the 4-horse Wild Rose of Texas. Ran against the boys in her first 2 starts. First start was excellent behind Cedarburg. Then was off. Obviously the race, something went amiss after that race. But came back with a series of distance works, like a lot of 5/8s. And then ended up running 3.5 furlongs. And perhaps maybe the speed was taken out of her a bit in those workouts. I'm just, giving her an excuse for her average performance last time at lower odds. I just think stretching out to 6.5 furlongs, she's going to get the lead in here. Amadeo Perez rides a comfortable work since her last race. But I just like the works going into her last race. They were very good, but this weren't works for 3.5 furlongs. And so it looks like they had other aspirations. I know she was nominated for, I don't know if it was a sales stake or the Futurity, one of the two. Sales stake. But ended up not running in it. But still, this filly was prepping to run farther, probably getting her to relax, and which may be why she fired kind of a flat effort going 3.5. I'm not giving up on her. And I put her on top. I put the 6, Anna Dancer, in for second. Daughter of Stefan Otis. She's well connected, nice pedigree. Good 2-year-old conditioner, Frank Barabee, and the works are decent. That's good enough for me to put her in the 2nd spot. And I put the 1 Silver Ovation for Sylvia Gregory in for 3rd. She's had a great season with her 2-year-olds, and I got that one in for 3rd. I went 4, 6, and 1. I'm
pretty similar. I agree with Wild Rose of Texas. As you mentioned, the first one was a bang-up race behind Cedarburg. Come back. Even that race, she only got beat 6 lengths. It was only a 3.5 race, but it was a tough race. I believe in Angel, Birdie Num Nums, as you mentioned.
They ran fast, 21 and 4, 33. But I just think, getting back to what I was saying, like they taking the speed out of it. That's why maybe she wasn't as handy early as she was in her first.
In a 3.5 race. Now she goes in against her own sex and against the fillies. 4/16,000, 6.5, leading rider. A lot of things to like about Wild Rose of Texas. I put Silver Ovation in second. Good second behind Cadeo for the same level last time. And Cadeo was very well met. He was bet off the board, and he did win. And I put Delta Beauty. Richard Hamill takes a call back on this horse, who finished just a little ways behind Silver Ovation in the last. Hamill, of course, having a strong meet. You don't want to leave him out on too many tickets. 4, 1, and 5 for me in the first. On to the second. 3-year-olds and up, claiming 4,000. Going a mile and a tick. And I've landed on the 2 Dog. Was off for quite a while. He ran in June, then he comes back, runs in September. I expected him to be a little bit flat last time, but he wired the field, 1 for fun. It was a non-3. He goes into a tougher condition, into an open non-4, open 4,000. But I think he's going to move forward off that race because now he's got that race under his belt. I didn't expect that big effort from him last time. If he moves forward a little bit, I see him repeating. His main threat is on the outside, number 6. He's big time, Amadeo Perez. This horse, one is non-3, then one in that tough race against, say, Fabulous Tommy Danziger. We expected a lot more of him last time. He was wide, laying off a pretty slow pace. I'm just going to kind of toss that one and then give him another shot. I got him in second. In the 3rd spot, I put Bluegrass Man out of the Frank Barabee barn. Just won his non-2, and he couldn't get a non-3 to come up. He goes in here. He's not out of it. He was meant to be a nicer horse. He's down at the $4,000 level. 2, 6, and 1 for me.
Yeah, I agree with your top 2. I think
those are the 2.
He's big time and Dog. I think on paper are the best. Dog, as you mentioned, a good run on the head end, got the lead through comfortable fractions, but sprinted home very quickly. Going to get more pressure. Got Proxy Man in here. Got Principe's Herbie on the stretch out. Just think there's going to be a little more speed, which is why I'm just going to slightly lean to the 6. He's big time. I have both on my early pick 4s. I think the 2 and 6 are definitely the 2 horses in here. But he's big time. Fell victim to a very slow pace last time. He had 0 position. He was dragged back to last, and Lord Harlow, who altered his running style and got in position early, because he's a horse that usually comes from last.
Yeah.
Got up. It was asked to lay second, and the horse won the race and got the money. Where this horse had to come from last and only could rally to be fourth. But I just think he's going to get a good pace scenario, and that's why I'm just going to slightly lean to him over dog. I think they're both very live in here, and I put the 5 Proxy Man in for third. This horse ran very well last time, so I'm going to go 6, 2, and 5 in the Saturday second. On to the third race. Got some $8,000 3-year-olds here going 6, actually 3 and up, going 6.5 furlongs. This is a non-2, non-3 lifetime for BC breds. I ended up on the 1-horse Majestic Mark. This is a tough race. I think there's a lot of contenders in here. I just think the rail is going to be a good spot for this horse. Going to go from the inside and play Catch Me If You Can under Jeff Birmingham. This horse ran second at Tempest last time in a very quick heat against straight 3-year-olds for 12.5. And I just think this horse is drawn nicely. Going to stay out of trouble and might end up finding the finish line first, but it will be a 3 or 4 horses within a length or two, I think, at the end of the race.
Yeah.
I put the 6-horse Brother Chunky for Anita Bolton and the Felicellas, who formerly had Majestic Mark. I think this horse is live as well, and it just couldn't handle Fleming's Beach and the stablemate and all that it means. That was her first run since returning from Edmonton, so I think this horse will be a little bit better. Now, about the 7, Uncle Willard. Got to respect the connections. Won last time at this condition, it's still eligible because it is a BC bred, but did get a good perfect ride by Richard Hamill last time. Just a little concerned with the trip from an outside draw.
And I don't think that race was as tough as.
No, this has come up way tougher. Cowboy Commander's nice, London's nice, Devon Way's good. He's Junior's not a bad horse, going to go without blinkers. This horse, it's won already 2 starts back. I mean, just a good competitive field of 7 in here, and there's a lot of ways to go. Yeah. I went 1, 6, and 7, but I wouldn't be surprised if my top 3 aren't even on the board. I like them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't run 1.
You can make a case for a lot of horses in here.
It's a good competitive race. It's an all-button race if you're afforded the luxury of being able to hit the all-button in the early pick 4s. But I'm going to go to Majestic Mark.
I mean, exactly as you said. I went with a horse that wasn't even in your top 3. I like London. He's got a nice sit and stock style. Dino's horses are running well right now. And I think with Majestic Mark, maybe Heath Jr. goes with him, and he's in the 2-hole. He might be able to get the nice spot right behind him. Exactly, and kind of a stock and pounce kind of style. I got London on top for Dino Condolinos. Brother Chunky, as you mentioned, of the Anita Bolton barn, and Amadeo Perez, those connections always have to be respected. I got them in the 2nd spot, and same obviously can be said about Richard Hamill and Craig McPherson with Uncle Willard. I got the same bottom 2 as you, Brother Chunky and Uncle Willard, but a very competitive field. I went 2, 6, and 7 in the 3rd. On to the 4th, Fillies and Mares, claiming 25,000.
Good race.
Yeah, very good race. Field of 7 signed on. I see this as pretty much a 2-horse race. I got Hidden Harbor on top. She's always tough at this level. Anytime she's in for a price, she's salty. The 7-year-old mare has won 13 races. She gets leading rider Amadeo Perez back. She's going to be a handful in here. And her main threat is on her inside, the 1-horse, Pretty Reckless, coming out of allowance races and some stakes company where she wasn't disgracing herself. Running against Trelawney and Touching Promise last time, running 3rd behind them, is no shame in that. She fits in well for the 25,000 level. Those are the 2 in here. If I was betting a multi-race bet, I'd have 1, 2 on my ticket. I looked around for another horse. I went with Hey Did You Notice? 1 for 16, 2 back. Came back and only got beat a length and a half in the sales stake by Irish Lyric, who came back to just get beat by a head in the Oaks. So a 3-year-old filly taking on older mares is tough, but she's good right now. So I went Hey Did You Notice in the 3rd spot. But definitely a 2-horse race, I think. I got 2, 1, and 5.
Yeah, I agree with you, top 2. Hidden Harbor for me is a single. I think that's the best horse in the race.
Yeah.
I think she's really live. She ran into Madeira Park and Turlani, and I know she lost to Pretty Reckless last time, but she was out there on the pace battling, and that's why she ended up not finishing. And she Amadeo Perez returns to the saddle. That's a big plus. I think she sits just off of Pretty Reckless, or even maybe gets the lead off of Pretty Reckless. We'll see. But Hidden Harbor is definitely your horse to beat. I put the 1 Pretty Reckless in for 2nd, and the 3 Lady Henrietta, who's pretty solid always. I can make a case for Did You Notice as well, or Closing Intent. There's 2 horses and then the other 5.
Well, that's exactly right. You had to pick somebody for third, yeah.
Like you said, there's 2 in here, and then the other 5 are very similar. But Hidden Harbor for me is a king. The king in here, queen in here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 2, 1, and 3 in the 4th. On to the 5th race, maiden $16,000 2-year-olds going 6.5 furlongs. This is for Colson Geldings. I landed on the 2, Goes Way Back. Not a great pick, not a strong selection. I didn't like the horse really last time for the 9-hole. Horse pulled up after doing some crazy stuff at the 8th hole, but obviously sound enough to come back. Worked in 46 and 4. Returns for 16,000. Better draw, new jock, and. But we'll see how it goes. But Goes Way Back is on paper miles the best, and this 16 came up a lot easier than the last one did. Prince Hotel's running in a stake. It's in command. Is running against better as well for 35,000 on the weekend. So I mean the 2 horses, a couple of them that finished 1-2 are got big aspirations. So that was a tough 16 last time. This one's come up a lot easier. So I'll go to him to win it. Put the 7 Wailea's Boy, who looked to be prepping to go farther before running 3.5 furlongs last time in that Believe in Angel Birdie Num Nums race. I know I selected Wild Rose of Texas earlier on the card, who exited that same race.
Yeah, exactly.
And this horse kind of has a similar running line, and if you look at the works, I mean, this horse was going 5/8 prior to running in that race, and just seems like it was prepping to go farther, and maybe a race didn't fill, so they run him 3.5 furlongs. But I think with blinkers on, this horse could be live in this 6.5 furlong race, and I put the 5 horse Cleared to Victory, who is a logical pick in here after back-to-back runner-up, or a third and a runner-up effort, 2nd and 3rd in his last 2 starts, so he's got to be live in here as well. I went 2, 7, and 5, but I'm going to give Goes Way Back the slight nod. Don't love the horse at all. This will be a go-deep race. These are not your most reliable types.
I left Goes Way Back off the ticket.
I don't blame you. The horse pulled up.
It scared me.
I don't like when stuff like that happens. I don't think come back and
that pulled up,
44 flat.
Yeah.
When they're pulling up in races, there's a reason. There's something usually up in the noggin that's causing
especially
that
2-year-olds. Yeah. So I left him off the ticket. I went to Clear to Victory. He's probably going to be a short price. Again, McPherson and Hamill. As you mentioned, exits at Prince Hotel. It's in command race. That was a tougher 16. This one didn't come up as tough. Clear to Victory looks to me to be the horse to beat in here. I went with Wiley's Boy in the 2nd spot. The Hall of Fame trainer Harold Barabee thought enough to run this one for maiden special weight. Drops in its 2nd start. As you mentioned, that was 3.5. Looks like this horse wants to run a little farther. Put him in the 2nd spot under Jeff Birmingham. In the 3rd spot, I put Harrison Hope out of the Robbie Anderson barn in. Not a bad 4th last time. Just a length and a quarter back from Clear to Victory. So Fuentes rode this horse once. He gets back aboard for Robbie. So I put him in the 3rd spot. I got 5, 7, and 6 in the 5th. On to the 6th. 3-year-olds and up 25,000. Now it's the boys' turn. Field of 7. And I've gone to the 7, Lorne 500. Very salty horse. What can you say? He just shows up every time. He runs his race for trainer Rob Maben, trainer-owner Rob Maben. Front running style last time for 12.5. Made no mistake. This isn't the toughest 25 in the world. Like, I know he's taken like a double jump up, but it's very similar to the horses he's been
this is not a tough
running
with no Stratify, with no. There's no the usual suspects in the 25s aren't in here.
Yeah, there's no rock star in here. So Lorne 500. This is more like his kind of race, like a 16 or a 12.5. So I got him on top. Franzer's Finest dropping down to a price for the first time in a while. Good third behind Senior Rojo and Hope Seeker last time for an optional 35. Again, obviously those 2 are much tougher than anything that's in here. Franzer's Finest. For my money, those are the 2 in here. It's Franzer's Finest and Lorne 500. They have the class. They're the tough ones. Beat them to get in the winner's circle. A little ways back to 3rd. I ended up going to After the Conflict. Good win for 16. But that was a conditional 16 against Rebus and Peyton's Best. And not the same kind of horses like Lorne 500 was running against for 16. So I put him in the 3rd spot. 7.52 for me.
Yeah, I went with all the elder statesmen in here. I agree with your assessment of Lorne 500, the 5, Franzer's Finest, and the only one I think the 3, the Gov, should be in the mix as well.
Yeah.
This horse was claimed for 8 Gs, ran a big race for. I know it was only for 8,000, but still, this horse was hooked the whole way. Showed he can still run. After the Conflict, just finished winning a non-2, non-3 16. For my money, an open 8 is tougher than a non-2, non-3 16. But sometimes they come up, tougher and easier in certain categories. But I went to Francer's Finest just because I think there could be a solid pace in here. You got After the Conflict guaranteed to go. The Gub's going to not let After the Conflict get away. Lauren 500 and Spirit River are going to be shooting out for position. And I think Francer's Finest might be a better sprinter at times. I don't mind this horse going 6.5 furlongs. I know the horse is one going long, but I know he isn't one going 6.5 furlongs, but usually it's because he's been running against some dirty, tough allowance or stake types horses. But I think this race could set up Francer's Finest very nicely. So I'm going to try him to win it. Put the Gub in for second and Lauren 500 in for third. But they're all interchangeable. I will have 3, 5, and 7 on all tickets. I think all three are very capable in the sixth race. On the seventh and final on the Sunday night program, Sunday afternoon program. Got some $4,000 non-winners to 2 going a mile on the 16th. I ended up on the 2-horse Wee Harry. I didn't love this race at all, but he just finished blitzing a field of maidens. Took him a long time to get the job done, but he did it quite nicely. You know, the time was fast, but still the track was pretty fast that weekend. September 27th and September 28th, you'll note throughout most of the races this weekend, you'll see a lot of the times were really crazy fast. And it was just, the track was live, and trackman Drew Oliveira's done a great job, and he's got the track. Horses are getting over it nicely, and you see some quick times. Quicker than usual times, anyway. But Wee Harry to win it. I put the 5, Lord Calazar, who was really compromised last time with a poor trip. Was 4 and 5 wide the whole race. Just the race set up absolutely terribly for him. I think with Timber Topper going, Magic in Overtime going, maybe out at the Ritz, I think the field will stretch out. There'll be a pace. Lord Calazar can come from last or second last, where you can get comfortable and not be all bottled up out wide. The field bottled up last time.
They were walking last time.
It cost him, and he's a better fifth than that race showed. So I'm going to put him in for second. I can see him winning it though. And I put Magic in Overtime in for third. I think he's the best of the speed. Timber Topper, I thought it was his time last time to win. Had comfortable fractions. I just think this race has come up tougher. Magic in Overtime, a pretty solid speed horse with Richard Hamill on board in the iron. So I went 2, 5, and 3.
I put Lord Calazar on top just because
I almost did. Yeah,
it was not a great trip last time. Amadeo Perez has rode at least 98 good races this year. That wasn't one of them, but not totally his fault.
No, circumstances.
As you mentioned, they're just walking up front. Everybody's bottled up. He's on the outside of it, and nothing really to do except hang out there the whole race. And when the running started, he's been wide.
These kind of horses can't go 4 wide the whole race going to mile 16th and win.
Yeah, no, you have to get breaks, and the horses now you're trying to run down are fresh because they've been going so slow up front. I'm going to give him another try. I got Lord Calazar on top. Put Timber Topper in the second spot. As you mentioned, this got nosed by Bluegrass Man last time, but he's definitely in the mix here. That race last time puts him right in the mix. And Magic in Overtime, I got in the third spot. Broke his maiden 2 back with Amadeo Perez. Ran against Promised Glory and Bluegrass Man last time. Went fairly quick, got pressured on the lead under a fairly young and inexperienced rider, and now he gets Richard Hamill. That's an upgrade. So I went 5, 1, and 3. In the nightcap, that'll do it for our assessment of the Sunday, October 12th races. Up next will be our picks. Mike, as always, you're up first.
There we go. Back in race number 1, I went to the 4-horse Wild Rose of Texas. Went 4, 6, and 1. In the second race, went to the 6. He's big time over the 2 Dog and the 5 Proxima, but 6 and 2 are very interchangeable. Third race, went to the 1 Majestic Mark over the 6 Brother Chunky and the 7 Uncle Willard. Fourth race, number 2 Hidden Harbor, probably my best bet of the day. I think she's the best. I went 2, 1, and 3. And the fifth race, went to the 2 Goes Way Back. Tough race. That's a tough 2-year-old maiden race. I went 2, 7, and 5. Sixth race, went to the 5 Francer's Finest over the 3 The Gub and the 7 Lauren 500 in the 7th and final. I went to the 2 Wee Harry over the 5 Lord Calazar and the 3 Magic in Overtime.
And on to my picks. There we go. In the first, I agree with Mike on number 4 Wild Rose of Texas over the 1 and the 5. In the second, I went to the 2 Dog for our good friend Lauren McDougall.
Good friend of the show.
Over the 6 and the 1. In the third, I went to the 2 London over the 6 and the 7. In the fourth, I went to the 2 Hidden Harbor over the 1 Pretty Reckless and the 5 Hey Did You Notice. In the fifth, I went to the 5 Cleared to Victory over the 7 and the 6. In the sixth, I went to number 7 the Tough Old Boy Lauren 500 over the 5 and the 2. And the nightcap, the 7th, I went to the 5. It's all 5s and 2s for me. Number 5 Lord Calazar over the 1 and the 3.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in to Handicapper's Corner. We wish everyone lots of luck in their wagers. Just forget, the first race goes at 150. If you can't make it out to Hastings Race Course, of course, Drew will be here with Chef Andy Lots going on
Yep.
here at the Derby Bar and Grill. You got simulcast wagering as well as the live card from Hastings. So come on out to the Derby Bar and Grill if you were out in the South Surrey area.
If you do go to the races, don't forget to get down to the beer
Hot
stands.
selections and the 2-for-1 Derby coupon. 2-for-1 entrees, so it's valuable in that regard, as well as our
Overnight at the
brilliant
back.
picks
Yes.
for the Sunday program. Well, that'll do it for this edition. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill for Handicapper's Corner.
Rivera bite. I hear his foot's all right. Of course it all goes.